Hi! Welcome to today's topic, which is titled The Gift of Alignment. And I do believe this will surprise you. You hear a lot of people in the spiritual world talk about being in alignment. And most of the time when we're talking about being in alignment, especially for myself, but a lot also as well, we're talking about being in alignment with our higher self. And if we click off, oh God, not that topic again. I've got a little bit of a surprise of a gift that this gives you that you may or may not be aware of. So you might want to stick around for a second or two to see if you are aware of it. And so I'll share with you what that gift is and then how you can best utilize it. Okay, so thank you for being with me today. I'm Seqkat from Seqkat'sEnlightenment.com, and I'm glad to have you here with me. Okay, so being in alignment with our higher self. So what exactly is our higher self? For those of you that do not know, definitely my definition that I came to, because my higher self started bugging me a few years ago when I didn't exactly know what that definition was, and started nudging me and leading me to find many places saying the same thing. And then with my own intuition, my higher self, I started understanding. I used to think it was just my soul, but it was more than my soul. It is the part of source that has zero amnesia. The soul kind of like comes into this body willing to play this virtual reality game, so to speak. And the higher self part of this is like we are each a unique aspect of source, each individual. I got a kitty cat here, I doubt you can see her, Lily. She is also an individuated aspect of source, a unique individual aspect. Her soul is occupying this cat's body, and she has this personality. She has a higher self, I have a higher self, you have a higher self, which is like your source self, the unique source self of the source. That's my definition. Tune in, feel what's right with you for your definition for your higher self. But I do know, coming into alignment with the higher self, the source has planted desires within your heart that the source wants to experience through your unique perspective. And when you are experiencing what source wants to experience through your unique perspective, that is when you are at your greatest joy. That is when you are really happy, when you are living those desires. Because that is when you're thriving, because that is what you actually came here to do. Would it be completely simple and easy? No, because source it can do anything it wants at the blink of an eye, because it's so unlimited. So it had to come here and play a limited game, so to speak, to kind of understand the contrast of things. You know, if everything's perfect, well, how do I know what perfect is unless I've experienced imperfection? Well, how can I experience imperfection when I am perfect at all times? I'm speaking like in the personality of source. So it had to like create a playing field where it can experience the opposite of itself to be able to understand itself better. You can't understand what hot means unless you understand what cold means to compare the two. And in that beautiful, blissful place of balance, which is like warm, like hot water, cold water, but that warm water is like, So it's that balance. So that balance is that place that we like to be in. But we are going to experience here on 3D Earth some of those polarities, so we can discover and understand our preferences. Most of the time are going to land in those balances, So to come in alignment with your higher self is to start coming into an alignment with those desires. So what is that gift? That surprise gift that you can get when you come in alignment with your higher self. A lot of times, she delays yet again. But this is important to tell you, because you got to understand what your brain is thinking. A lot of times when we think we have to do something that's good for us, let's go back to our latter years when we were kids. Ooh, we got to eat those nasty vegetables because they're good for us, but they don't taste good. Ooh, I gotta be quiet and be still when I want to play and be all excited in school because it's good for us. I gotta do that awful homework because it's good for me. So a lot of times we have a paradigmal resistance to that which is good for us, because it usually means like, oh gosh, it's gonna taste like crap or feel like crap, and it ain't gonna be fun. So to come into alignment is good for you, but before you just wipe that off the board because of your paradigmal beliefs in what's good for you. The best part of this is coming into alignment actually gives you exactly what you want. You get your desires. That's the exciting part. You're like, Seqkat, didn't you just kind of tell me that in a long rounded way? Yes, I did. But I wanted you to be able to understand it from that egoic personality too, because the ego loves to resist. And it comes from those paradigms because it doesn't want to experience. Ego wants to survive, number one, and avoid as much pain as possible. And if it tastes like crap, that's pain. If it feels like crap, that's pain. So it wants to blow it off. So that's why I wanted to kind of go around that way. So it's really important for you to come in alignment with your higher self, for you to get all your desires, and for you to get what you want. Now the trick is, what do you really want? That's where ego can trick you. Ego can make you think you want X, Y, Z because it's coming from a place of fear. It's coming from a place of paradigms. Like ego may have a list, I don't want anything that's good for me ever again because it tastes like crap and it feels like crap. But in actuality, there are some good things that are good for you that don't taste like crap and don't feel like crap. Like coming to alignment with your higher self, you get what you want. So that's the actuality. So ego's going to come with these data lists and these past experiences, and it's going to paint your present tense and paint your future with those past experiences and make you miss out on what you really, really want. So then you got to decipher that tricky part. What does it really want? The ego, and what does my higher self want, and which one's going to bring me pure joy? I'm going to assure you, your higher self is going to bring you the pure joy because that's the desires the source put through you to experience those unique perspectives through you. So always check it. Is this desire coming from a pure joy, a bliss, an excited passion, or is it coming from a fear-filled place that I'm going to experience pain, or more than anything, most of our fears derive from lack? Bentino Massaro put me onto that, and I agree with him completely. Majority of your pains, he actually stated all of them. I've looked at them. I can't find that they don't come from lack. Your fears and pains come from a concept of lack. So when you're coming to get something out of that place of lack, then that's not exactly a pure desire. And it can be a little bit skewed. Is it fully a higher self desire? Or is there some egoic desire in there too, blending it and messing it up? And when you can come into your alignment with your higher self, then you can get into that pure serenity, that pure peace, and go from there. And then you can get exactly what you want that will truly bring you joy, not just a temporary appeasement to band-aid over a pain or to cloud you and protect you from a perceived fear, or it seems like it protects you. It's like being in a rainstorm and throwing a blanket over your head. Is that blanket going to protect you from the rain? No. Is it going to protect you from thunder and lightning? No. Your higher self would put you in shelter. And you probably hear a train in the background. Apologize, guys. Your higher self would actually put you in shelter to keep you safe. So this is the type of concepts we're talking about. Now, for those of you who've been with me with the Seqkat Mewzings series, as this is, you have probably caught on that I am doing the whole tarot journey, and I've been going through order. So this week's tarot card is the Chariot. And the Chariot is all about something coming in and moving in fast, and it's positive and it's excited, like gaining your desires. But when it's reversed, that's when I'm like, oh, this tells me it's time to rein in the ego. The ego has been running the show. It's been driving things to keep you safe and to keep you surviving instead of thriving. So we want to always flip this back and get back in alignment with our higher self. So what we want to do there. A quick little trick that you can do, it's simple. It's a little breathing technique. It's a deep belly breathing technique, and it's very powerful. And if you breathe in through your nose and breathe out through your nose, and when you breathe in, you want to fill in that lower belly full of air. And then when you exhale, you want to contract it. So it may seem a little backwards, but think about a balloon. When you breathe into the balloon, the balloon balloons out and fills up with air. So when you breathe in, you want to fill up your belly with air like a balloon. And then when you squeeze the balloon, you squeeze the air out. So then you want to contract your stomach to squeeze the air out. If you do that type of breathing, that is a quick way. It's like your higher self is here, and when your ego is here, you're in alignment. But the ego likes to go over here a lot with its own perceptions and thoughts and data list. It's a quick way to pull it into alignment. So you can practice doing that with me right now. Let's just do 3 deep belly breaths and do them at your own pace. You want to breathe in your nose and out your nose. Breathe in, filling up the belly with air. And when you exhale, you want to contract it. And you can even always test yourself too. You can put, I'll go ahead and stand up here. You can put your hands just like this right below your navel to make sure that your belly is expanding when you breathe in. And contracting when you breathe out. So I kind of stood up there just to give you a little bit better view there. So you can test that while you do that. It's almost an immediate response. You'll feel yourself just calm down almost immediately. When you hear the phrase, there's power in the breath, they're not kidding. There's so much power in the breath. And it can really calm you. And if you practice this, if you can spend 20 minutes a day practicing this, just try it for 3 weeks. You would be amazed. And I would really recommend trying it for 20 minutes at least a day for 3 weeks, or 30 days, even better. Then after that, just do 5 minutes in the morning when you wake up, and 5 minutes at night before you go to sleep. You would be amazed at the profound difference that would make, whether you change anything else or not, because it is just pulling that ego into alignment with the higher self. And that's where the peace is, that's where the calm is, that's where the bliss is, that's where the joy is, that's where you get your true desires. That's where that is. And when you have your true desires, that's when you are at your happiest. So that's just a simple little technique. And then of course the bigger work would be, reining in those emotions when your ego is really running amok and running the show from a pain place or a fear place. You got to find those places and surrender it back to the higher self and let your higher self run the show. And a good way to do that, I always teach, is to validate your ego's pains and fears. Sit down with a meditation, see it as a child, let it talk to you. I'm scared of this because I experienced this. That hurt when I experienced this. Let it tell you everything it feels. It has every right to feel that way. Source created the ego to feel these differences, because Source and your higher self is the aspect of knowing its Source. It's going to look at everything from a pure bliss state and not feel that contrast. It's just going to see everything as love. The ego was created to feel the contrast. That's what it was created for. So Source could understand hot versus cold, perfection versus imperfection. It could understand it by having the opposites. So don't get angry at your ego. Don't ignore your ego. Don't push away your ego. It plays a very important, intricate role. It needs to be honored and loved and worked with. Just like a child. You don't push the child away. You don't hide the child in the closet. You honor it and you love it and you work with the child at the child's capacity and place of understanding. And so your ego, I always say to see your ego as a toddler that never grows up, because it kind of is. It never does get into that understanding that you can get into with the balance of the higher self coming in. So sit down and let it tell you its woes, let it tell you its fears, and let it tell you its pains, and listen to it and validate it and tell it you have every right to feel this way, because it does. And give it a hug and give it love. But don't let it stay in those emotions, the places that it may need to forgive itself, it may need to forgive others, and you need to gently move it in that direction when it's ready to do so, and then surrender it to your higher self so that you are operating more from your higher self perspective than you are your ego. Because the more you operate from your higher self perspective, the more you're living in bliss, the more you're living the life of your dreams and the life of your joy, because you're living your heart's desires, those desires that Source planted within your heart. Okay guys, that's my lesson for this week. If you're new to my channel, I'm glad to have you. I hope you stick around. And if you enjoyed this, I'd really appreciate a thumbs up. That helps me circulate my video to other people to reach out and help them. And I will put a card up here for my second Mewzings series in case you are brand new, and that way you can follow all the way through from the first card and go down through the journey with me if you would like so. So I will see you next Wednesday with another Seqkat's Mewzing, or Sunday for a tarot reading, or the first Wednesday of the month for a chakra clearing. Until next time, guys, much love and much light.